Some safety guidelines before we get started. All participants are advised to have clearance, medical clearance, before you start this session from either your physician or your exercise therapist. Please do not participate if clearance has not been received. More guidelines. Please do not participate today if, since you've last been in contact with us, you've had any unusual symptoms, or you've had an unplanned doctor or hospital visit. For anyone living with heart failure, if you've had any ankle or leg swelling most recently, or an increase in 4 pounds of weight in the past 2 days, or over 5 pounds in 1 week, please do not take part in the session. More safety guidelines. Again, please remember this is a virtual class, so please have an emergency plan in place, as we would be unable to assist you physically. If you develop symptoms during the session, please stop exercising. If symptoms worsen, please seek medical attention. And in the event of an emergency, do call 911. Again, remember that you are in control of your workout. Please stay within your comfort level.
So that it's still quite warm out there, I think. So it's a good option. So today, we're just going to do a little bit of a warm up, and then I'm going to take you through 3 sets of aerobic exercises, and we're going to do each set 2 times through. So we'll kind of learn the moves, and then we'll get really good at the moves the second time around. Our home base move each time is just going to be marching on the spot. All right. And if any of the moves that I do don't feel good for you, you can always come back to this home base move. Okay. So marching on the spot is where we go in between the sets. And if any of the exercises don't feel great for us, we can always go back to this marching on the spot. Let's just do some punches forward to get those arms going, get the blood flowing in all the different muscles we are going to be working today. We'll punch to the side. And to the other side. And down to the ground. Up to the ceiling. Back to that march. Yeah, we'll do a skater, so we're just going to step behind. You may see some of these moves again as we go through the different sets of exercises today. Give you a preview of some of them during our warm-up session. Let's go back to your march. And we will do a hamstring curl. So just try to kick your bottom. You can add your arms if you would like. So we'll do about 30 minutes of aerobic training. Then we'll do a nice cool down and a little bit of stretching at the end of today's session. Go back to your march. If able, you can do some high knees. Again, if anything doesn't feel good, go back to the march. Back to your march. And let's just do some toe taps out front. switch that to a heel day. Awesome. Back to that march. And we'll just finish with a little bit of swimming. Get those shoulders going. And a backstroke. Awesome. Hope we are feeling nice and warm. So as I mentioned, we're going to go through some sets. We're going to start with set 1. We're going to start with 40 seconds on the move and then 20 seconds just back at our march. Okay, so I'll explain the move as we do our march. So let's start just with a 20-second march. And then we're going to move into front taps as our first move. Okay, and we're going to do that for 40 seconds. So we'll be moving the whole time. And then we'll just switch between some different exercises. All right, let's all go into our front tap. So we're just going to tap in front. We're here for 40 seconds. You're halfway there. Back to your march. Here for 20. Okay, our next move is going to be back taps. So same sort of movement as front tap, so we're going to move back instead of to the front. So we're there in 10 seconds. All right, are we ready? Let's do back taps. Here for 40 seconds. Good. Halfway through. And we're going to go with your back tap. Back to your march. All right. Our next exercise is going to be a side step with our arms. So I'll show you that in 10 more seconds. We're just back at our march. All right. So for this one, sort of like a modified jumping jack. And we're here for 40 more seconds. Side tap with the arms. Good. And back to your march. Next one. It's going to be a little bit of footwork, a little bit of coordination. We're going to go out, out, in with those feet. Okay. So I'll show you in just a second. Then that is our last exercise of this set. We're going to go back to the top and do them all one more time. All right. So for this one, out, out, in, out, out, in. So it's a wide step to a narrow step. Good. I lost my coordination there. Okay, we'll perfect that one the next time. Back to your march. All right, and we're going to do everything through a second time. Anyone remember our first exercise? What was it? I guess you can't really answer me, can you? Our front taps. We're moving back to our front taps. All right, we're ready to go. Back to your front tap. Now we learn the moves, now we can perfect the moves. The second time through. We're halfway through this one. All right, back to that march. We remember our next exercise, back taps. And we're there now. Again, if you'd like to add your arms in, you're welcome to. Raise your heart rate a little bit more. More muscles we're using, the higher that heart rate will go. So adding the arms in will increase it a little bit. So up to you. You can either just do the legs or you can add in the arms. Good. Back to the march. Back to that home base exercise. Third one is our side tap with arm involvement. Again, if you don't want to use the arms, that's okay as well. You can always just do the side tap. All right, here we go. Halfway there for this one. And back to that march. So our final exercise of this set are out, out, in. All righty, wide step, narrow step. And here we go. So we're going out, out, in. Out, out, in. Halfway there for this one. Awesome. All right, that's the end of the first set. So if you'd like to grab a sip of water, do so now. Just keep those legs moving. We don't want any cooling blood down in the legs. We do want to keep those legs moving. And we're going to move into our second set. We're going to start with a hamstring curl for our second set. So we're going to start in about 10 seconds. All right. Just keep on with our marching. Give everyone a minute to catch their breath. And let's go with a hamstring curl. Good. Back to your march. Next one is going to be our skater. We're just at our home base march, and we're going to move into our skater. I'll let you know when. All right, let's go. You're halfway through. All right, our next exercise, it is going to be a mini lunge with a bicep curl. So if this bothers your knees, you don't have to do this. You can always be at home base and just do the bicep curl as well. Okay? So if you are joining, what we're going to do, we're just going to do mini lunge, bicep curl, step in. Opposite side, mini lunge, bicep curl. Again, if this doesn't feel good to you, for those knees, stick with the march, add in your bicep curl. So just a mini lunge, we're not going too far into it. Got 10 more seconds of this move, then we're back to that march. Back to the march. Last move in this set is just going to be some knee taps or some high knees. All right, and off we go. High knees or knee taps for the last exercise this set. Then we're going to go back to the top, do everything one more time. So first exercise was those hamstring curls. So we're going to go back to the top in about 20 seconds. And we're going to start with that exercise after we do our marching. Good. Back to your march. And then we're back to that hamstring curl. And then we're more than halfway done. Then we only got one more set to go. Time's flying. All right, are we ready? Back to the hamstring curl. Again, you can do this with or without the arms, whatever works for you. Mm-hmm. 10 more seconds. Move. Back to that march. Next move is our skater. So just to remind you of the different ones we're doing, our next one is the skater. 5 seconds, we'll move into that one. All right, off we go. Halfway through. All right, back to your march. Then we are going to do our mini lunge again with the bicep curl. Again, if your lunge doesn't feel good for you, just do your march, add in the bicep curl. All right, off we go. Lunge, bicep curl. Opposite leg. More to go with this one. Awesome. Back to your march. One more exercise for this set. And we're done and dusted too. One more to go. Maybe a bonus exercise. We'll see. And then all we got to do is stretch. All right. Last exercise of this set is going to be your knee taps. So if you're ready, join me now. Awesome. All right, that's the end of set number 2. Grab a sip of water. I don't know about you, but I'm working up a sweat up here. All right, just keeping those legs moving. All right, moving on to our third and final set. Another 4 exercises. We're going to start with a narrow squat and a wide squat. We're going to do one leg each time, okay? So we'll start with maybe our right leg this time. Second set, we'll do our left leg, okay? So for this exercise, we're just going to do narrow squat, wide squat, narrow squat, wide squat, all on the same side. All righty? Okay, let's start now. Narrow squat, wide squat, narrow squat. Good. If you really want to challenge yourself, try to not come back at all into a fully upright standing position between your different squats. That's going to keep that muscle under tension. It'll be a bit more difficult. You can always come for a stand if you need. Good. All right, stand up. I'm sure you can feel that in your standing leg, can't you? All right, we'll do the other side next time. Back to that march. Next, we're going to do a standing bicycle. Our second exercise is a standing bicycle. All right, arms behind the head, and we're going to twist knee to opposite elbow. Or opposite knee to opposite elbow. And more seconds. Back to your march. All right, next exercise is going to be a back step with a tricep extension. So I'll show you that one in about 10 seconds. And then we only got one more move to learn. All right, so we're just going to do a back step with tricep extension. Back step and extend the arms back for your tricep extension. And almost done this one. Good. Back to the march. Just trying to keep an eye on our time. We should finish just after 1:30 with this. Then we'll have about 10 minutes or so to stretch. All right. Last exercise. Side lunge. Then we got to go through all of them again. All right. Are we ready? So side lunge, back to standing. Side lunge, back to standing. We'll do the opposite way, second time around. Last one here. All right. One more time through, everyone. One more time. So we're going back to that squat. Narrow squat, wide squat. If this doesn't feel good for you, also just squat it out. So just, if ever in doubt, squat it out. Just do a regular squat. All righty. So I'm going to go into my opposite side this time. Narrow squat, wide squat. Narrow squat, wide squat. Doing my best to stay nice and low the whole time. But if you need a break, you can always go back up to full standing for a little break and then get back. Just 10 more seconds here. Last one. Good. Back to your march. You don't have to do that one anymore. It's one of our toughest ones. Okay, back to our standing bicycle. We got about 10 seconds. We'll go back into that exercise. All right, are you ready? Let's go. Almost there, 5 seconds. Good. Back to your march. Next exercise, back step with the tricep extension. We're there in 3, 2, 1. Back step, tricep extension. Back to our march. All right, last one, side lunge. Are we ready? Last one. Go back to your march. All right, that's 3 sets. Who wants to do a bonus exercise? Just one. Then we'll cool down, I promise, okay? Do a little marching on the spot. I'm kind of making this one up on the go, so we'll see how it goes, okay? We're going to do a sumo squat, getting lower and lower while we punch, all right? If this doesn't feel good for you, just keep on marching. We're just going to do one time. We're just going to test it out, okay? So feet shoulder apart, toes pointed slightly outwards into our sumo squat. We're going to slowly lower as we punch out. And then we're going to get higher, but don't go all the way to standing. And lower again. While we punch. And higher again, but don't go all the way to standing. And lower again. And higher again. And lower again. Up to higher. And to lower. One more time. All the way down. And slowly up. Good. Okay. Grab your water. We're going to do a cool down now. We got about 10-ish minutes to stretch. Perfect timing. Let's just do a little marching on the spot. Do a nice shoulder roll. And switch directions. We can do some hip circles in one direction. And let's switch directions. I find one easier than the other. I wonder if others probably feel the same. One might feel a little bit more natural than the other when you're doing some of your exercise, especially this hip rotation. Good. Let's stretch out our arm. So we're just gonna, our shoulder, and we'll do the triceps. So we're just gonna pull one arm across the body. Give it a nice stretch. Switch sides. Same thing. And let's move on to a stretch for that tricep. So just put one arm over the head. You're just gonna hold that elbow. Should feel this in the back of the arm, that tricep muscle. And switch arms. Hold the E stretch about 30 seconds. We'll do a nice side stretch. Just put one arm overhead. And just lean to the opposite side. Get a nice side stretch. feel that stretch over here. Nice side body. If it switch directions, same thing on the other side. If you have a chair or a wall available for you, you can do a nice calf stretch. If you just want to put your toes against the wall of the chair and lean in, you'll feel a nice stretch in that calf muscle. We're going to do a few seated stretches as well. So if you do have a chair available to you, that would be great. And let's switch feet or switch legs. There's a small little lean in. You should feel that in the back of that lower leg, your calf muscle. Wonderful. Let's take a seat. Do a few seated exercise. We'll do the hamstring stretch in the chair. So if you just want to put one foot out in front, heel on the ground, lean in towards that thigh. You're going to feel a stretch in that hamstring. You can reach down towards the ankle or the toes. Switch legs. Come up in that stretch. We can do some ankle rotations. And switch directions. And the other ankle. Start in one direction. Switch directions. Do a nice back. So we're just going to do a sort of side rotation of the chair, give the back a nice stretch. We'll switch to the other side. Sit nice and tall again in that chair. Just place one hand behind the back and then lean your neck in the opposite direction. And the other side. Now let's just finish with a few little neck rolls. Just from one side to the other, not all the way around. Just from one shoulder to the other. Good. And let's finish up with 3 nice big deep breaths just to finish off our session for today. Go in through your nose and out and in and out. And biggest breath you've taken all day, go in through that nose and slowly out.